Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, saints and ain'ts, congratulators, participators, and also the haters who we also see too. Welcome to another edition of The Bigger Picture in the Throne Room, featuring the seat of the esteemed. Today we have a very, very welcomed and appreciated guest. As you guys who've been following our platform know, we have been doing our absolute best to streamline the world between the black and the blue. We've had correction officer sergeants here. We've had NYPD sergeants here, just so we get some insight into what is that blue wall, how it relates to our community, how it serves our community, and how we can bridge the gaps that keep all of us safe. So today we have a most powerful guest. I think you guys are going to absolutely not only receive some life lessons from her, but also some insight. Introduce yourself, sis.
How y'all doing, guys? My name is Naja Stroud. I go by Naj.
And my king, how are you today?
I'm blessed. I'm glad to be here as always.
Wonderful. So I always like to start with the beginning because the evolution always begins with a dawn. So where did you grow up?
Brownsville, Brooklyn. To be exact, the plaza right there on New Lots and Mother Gaston. If you know Brooklyn and Brownsville, you know it wasn't easy growing up there.
Very much so, very much so. And what was the family dynamic like? Who did you grow up with at home?
So I grew up with my mother and father, but of course they was young. So my father was there, but you know, he was doing his own thing. Had my grandparents, but again, we grew up in the hood. So we grew up with a lot of difficulties. You understand what I'm saying? My mother had to grind. My father had to grind. The odds was against us. So I had the family. I had the love, but it still was a hard upbringing growing up in Brownsville to try to beat the odds of everything that was going around.
And you went to parochial school too.
So yes, so my mother put me in private school. I was in Risen Christ, but then things got rough and she couldn't afford it. So then I had to go to regular school.
How long were you in Risen Christ before you transitioned to public school?
I think I was in Risen Christ for about maybe 2 years, about 2.5 years. And then I had to go back to public school.
Did you have friends there already in the public school?
No. So my first school, where was it? Let me take it back. Dang, you got me going back. Okay. I was in, Head Start. So I got family in Kingsborough Projects. I did Head Start. And from Head Start, my kindergarten and everything was at Risen Christ. So now let's bring it up to second grade. When it's time for second grade, that's when I got to go back to public school.
Okay. And that's around what grade were you back at public school?
Second grade.
Okay.
Like towards the end of the second grade.
Okay. What were your thoughts of the NYPD growing up? Because we all have our own. I grew up in the Bronx, EX stand up, EX and X. Honey is from Harlem. So we all had our own concepts of policing and what that looked like when we were kids. What did you see when you looked out on Mother Gaskin and see the officers on the beat?
All right, so when I seen the police officers, it was don't speak to them, don't talk to them, stay away from them. I actually had a traumatic experience as a teenager where the police actually assaulted my mother and broke her wrist. And she was an officer, not a cop, but she was a CO. So it always was like mixed emotions with the NYPD. So just to give you a little rush on that story, my little brother was outside playing football, threw a football, and it hit this man's car. Didn't break nothing, but it hit the guy's car. The guy gets out the car. He's acting crazy. He's acting irate. Me and my mother is food shopping. My grandmother is out there, and they call my mother like, come here, this guy going crazy. They calling the police and everything. We go on the scene. My mother is very respectful. She go up to the officers, show her badge, what's going on. I know my son is involved. I just want to know what's going on. The guy didn't believe it was actually a sergeant. He didn't believe my mother was a cop. So he kept saying, let me see your badge. Well, an officer. Because she just said, I'm an officer. She never said what type of officer.
But
And
she showed
her
him the badge.
So he kept saying, let me see your badge. So she repeatedly showed him, and he was trying to snatch it from her. So from what I perceived it was, he must have didn't think it was a real badge or she was who she said she was. So it got crazy. They called for backup. My mother was arrested. They threw her to the floor, broke her wrist. She was arrested. I was arrested. My uncle was arrested. It was just like, it turned into a whole big thing. So I always had a nasty taste in my mouth when it came to the police. But then I also wanted to show them that people from the hood could, be different than what they perceive us as.
And I think it's important that we recruit from our communities. We know the language, we know the demographic, we know the tone, we know the energy, we know the difference between the kid that's going to school and the kid that's surviving on them corners. We know that kid surviving on the corner still has a small window of opportunity to shift their reality. We know who the shooters are. I think one of the most frustrating things about hood politics is we can't unknow what we know.
No.
And we can't stop loving who we love, knowing what we know. And sometimes we love the bad people. We love the parasites because we know the other side of it. But we also want to protect the other kids who are navigating through those dark tunnels to get to where we know they can excel to be. And that's what I hear when you say that your mother was already in law enforcement. They don't call DOC the bravest for no reason, right? Was she stationed on Rikers?
Yeah, so my mother been on Rikers for over 25 years. She's a captain now. But you know what it is? Coming from a certain neighborhood or us growing up certain places, people that don't know us and don't know the good that could come out the hood or out the neighborhoods we grow up in, all they see is bad. So to them, oh, you coming out of the plaza? Your kids playing football over here. Yeah, I ain't nobody. So I feel like you said, our own people should try to go for these opportunities because we could distinguish what's going on. Like, we know what it is. Like, I am you, you are me to a certain extent. So I could be a better fit. But the opportunities for us to go there, they make it harder, or sometimes we just don't even want the opportunities.
That's very true because there's recruiting. Recruiting has been pretty consistent the past 10 years. And I'm not seeing enough of us taking the tests. Same thing with FDNY, same thing with DOC. I'm not seeing it the way I saw it, let's say in the 90s, where it seemed that there was really a movement, there was really a push. If you was in any city high school or any city university, they were recruiting right from there. They don't hold those recruitment events at that young level anymore. So to a lot of the kids who are 18 and over, who do qualify, they don't think they qualify. They don't see it. And I think there's a sense of, is that betraying the community? If I sign up? So I think, like, as you mentioned, it's a dichotomous decision. Am I going to pursue it? But that didn't stop you because you did.
So let me tell you that when you said, so I'll give you a funny story. I become a cop, right? I'm going to start from the beginning, but I just want to get this story.
How old were you when you took the test?
When I took the test, I was about 21. And to tell you the truth, I didn't want to take the test. My mother was on my back. Take the test, take the test. All these city exams is out, take the test. So I took corrections. I took NYPD. I took the traffic test. I even took PD for Georgia. So the first people to call me was the school safety. But it was happening so fast, I didn't finish the process. So then traffic called me, so I went with traffic. And traffic is under the police umbrella, but they don't give traffic agents no respect when it comes to, even though it's under the umbrella, when it comes to traffic agents, they used to look at us like we was nothing. Oh, y'all just meet the maids. So I did that. So fresh out of college, I wanted to go to the military, but Bush was in office. So that wasn't...
Second Bush.
Yes. So that really wasn't going. So then I wound up doing traffic. and then traffic for 2.5 years, and then I went to PD. But I really didn't want to do it. But my mother pushed me to take the test, and then when they called me, the money was right at the time. It was 41,000. They had a lot of different benefits, so I did it. But at first, I really didn't want to because it was a battle of, do I want to be a cop? Look how they did my moms. Look how they treated the people in my neighborhood. Not for nothing, I had a young experience with the police. I was coming from work. I was working at Wendy's. I had to be about maybe 16. And we used to walk through the park. So this is at the time when they enforcing you can't be in a park after dusk. We know that's a rule, but they really wasn't enforcing that in our neighborhoods. We used to be in a park to all hours of the night, playing basketball, doing little other stuff. So I'm walking through the park. I'm in my Wendy's uniform. The cop stopped me and my girlfriend at the time. Mind you, I'm more masculine, so she's more feminine. Stopped me, where y'all coming from? Oh, I'm coming from work. We coming from Wendy's. Oh, where's your ID? So I'm like, right here. But when I go dig in my pocket, I didn't have my ID on me.
You're
So
16.
I didn't have I forgot, I ain't have my ID on me. You know, he let my girl, he told her to sit down on the bench, and then he wrote me a summons. So that put a nasty taste in my mouth. You see me in my uniform, you see me with my friend, you ask me where I'm coming from, I tell you where I'm coming from, you clearly see me in uniform, and then you wrote me the summons. So I felt like he wrote me the summons because I was the boy girl. And I don't know what else, but it just rubbed me the wrong way. Like, if you gave her courtesy, you could have gave me a courtesy. Like, listen, we're enforcing it. You can't walk through the park after dark. Don't let it happen again.
All of you that don't understand why that snapshot in New York is so important. During the Giuliani administration, the broken windows theory was applied and put into force. The thought is, if you even let one broken window go without a person being held accountable for that broken window, that it's going to lead to broken buildings, it's going to lead to broken streets, it's going to lead to anarchy, and you have chaos. So many of the quality of life laws, such as jaywalking, such as drinking an alcoholic beverage out of a paper bag, such as loitering, these were already on the New York City books, but they weren't being enforced because they were quality of life laws. Even the ice cream, public noise pollution. If you notice now, the Mr. Softy trucks are not allowed to play their music when they're parked. That is all the effect of the Giuliani administration and a part of the broken windows theory. So I just wanted to inform the viewers because they may not know. What do you mean I can't walk in the park? Yeah, this is why. Continue.
So now I finally, take the test. They call me, so I go. So when I go in, I got the mindset like, you know what? I want to show people from my neighborhood and who's like me, like, we could get these jobs and we could do what we got to do. And I also want to show the people who don't want us here, like, no, we belong here.
How old are you at this time?
So when I actually go inside the NYPD, I was 24. I turned 25 in the academy because we went in July and my birthday's July as well. So I took the oath, signed in and all of that July 3rd.
What were some of the lessons you learned in the academy? Was there any messages that were given to the new recruits that you saw play out in the community once you got out there, particularly about us in the community?
All right, so I'm gonna give you, so now we're in the academy, right? And they teaching us the law. So it's funny because now when we first get sworn in, we get sworn in at the college down in Brooklyn College, down in Flatbush, Brooklyn, right? So they give us a break and everybody just going to the stores and stuff. So when we come back in, they going off. All of y'all broke the rule. So remind you, we looking like, what? Y'all all breaking the laws. Y'all jaywalking. So now you got to get into perspective. Like you said, the broken window rules that really wasn't really in effect like that. Now I'm an officer, I gotta do that. So I gotta remember, I can't jaywalk, I can't do this. So it was a lot of correcting to little things that's not, how can I put it? Little things that's not really that big, but you have to be aware of. So they made sure we correct that. They teaching us stuff, making sure we squared away, because now they gotta turn us into officers and 100% law-abiding citizens within 6 months, because that's how long the academy is. So ain't no jaywalking, ain't no double parking. You supposed to be doing the right thing. So we got to get your mind programmed to keep doing the right thing. So now we're in the academy and we talking about different neighborhoods. This is towards the end when everybody about to get we about to graduate and get our guns and shields and stuff like that. And they happen to be talking about my neighborhood. So we sitting there, they talking about, oh, Brownsville, because now we got to pick our precincts. So a lot of people were scared to go to Brooklyn
So you
and the
could pick your
Bronx.
precinct?
Well, they give you like a wish list, and you could pick what borough and what precincts you want to go to. Doesn't mean you're gonna get it, but you get to get a pick. So, a lot of people scared to come to Brooklyn, the 7-5, which is East New York, the 7-3, the 7-7, which is Crown Heights. So they talk about certain neighborhoods, certain precincts in certain neighborhoods like they're rough. So usually people try to get to Manhattan, like 42nd Street, Manhattan South, Midtown South, things like that, Staten Island, certain neighborhoods where, I'm just gonna have an easy time opposed to I'm coming out, today's my first day, and me on that beat, something could go crazy. So they start talking about the plaza. So where I'm from, it was called Noble Drew Ali Plaza. So the sergeant up there, he said, back in the days, I used to work in the 7-3. I was a new sergeant there. He was like, oh, them buildings. He said, because they're really not projects. They call the plaza projects, but they're private buildings.
Correct.
But they're so bad, they just say the PJs. But
Because it's a
private,
building.
yeah,
People
it's
see any bricks, they be like,
It's all
project. I
project.
get
So
what you
yes,
mean.
it's privately owned, but they known as a project. So we call them the plaza. So he's like, it's rough in there. They do this, they do that. So they explain the stuff. So all the new recruits that's from Long Island and everywhere else that's not from the inner city or even not even from Brooklyn, you got to see the looks on their face. They looking scared. So I'm sitting there and I got a little smirk. So he like, why you smirking, Stroud? Because, we go by last name basis. I said, oh, because I'm actually from that neighborhood. I grew up in Noble Drew Ali Plaza. And the way you describe it, it's not that way to me. So remember, he's an outsider looking in. So he's explaining it as an outsider. I grew up there. Yes, was it violence? Yes, was it drugs and things like that? It was. But the way he's scaring these people, it wasn't scary to me because that's where I grew up.
It's home.
So a lot of times, like being in academy, when they explain in certain places, when they're not from them places, they're already putting fear into the recruits. So now, if I'm not from this place and I get to 7-3, I'm scared to death. So I'm already coming. I don't really got to walk. I really don't got to talk. I don't even have the knowledge of here. And now I'm already coming out the academy scared. And then they put me in this neighborhood. That's why we have the incidents where you see they shot the kid in East New York in the steps and stuff like that. Because certain people from different demographics, they putting fear in them. So now I got this job. A lot of inner city people don't like police because the relationship the police have with the city people. So it's a little hostile. So I'm already coming to a hostile situation and now I'm scared. And then you just planted this seed on top of that. And so it's a lot of that.
It's a lot of that. Did you see that first day? Where did they station you? Where did you get your pick that you wanted?
So I picked, I think, Brooklyn. I went to Brooklyn, but I actually went to the 71st Precinct in Crown Heights. So if you are familiar with Brooklyn and Crown Heights, that's where we got the black side and we got the Hasidic Jew side. So they run that. So that's where I went. It was cool. I liked it when I first got there.
What was that first day on the beat like for you?
So the first day, it really I didn't know what to expect. So I wasn't scared of nothing, more nervous, but I knew that neighborhood. I went to the high school right up the block. So I was seeing friends I went to school with. It wasn't that bad. But the first day, they don't just automatically throw you on the beat. They ride you around with the sergeant to show you, all right, if this is the beat you on Utica from Carroll Street up the Eastern Parkway. So they got to drive you around, show you the different things. So after like the first week, then you really on a beat by yourself doing your own thing.
Oh, so you're not partnered up?
So for the most part, it'd be two people, but say like if they put us on a beat, right? And I'm on Utica. I'll probably have this corner, you'll have this corner. We'll be partners, but we walking, back and forth. We're not always just standing next to each other. So you have a partner, but you're not. So when you patrolling, then I got my partner. But when you're actually on a beat, you're my partner, but you won't. I mean, we would do it. See us both standing on the corner of Utica and Eastern Parkway, but we both cover this. So we supposed to be walking and doing things like that, not just stuck to the stuck to the hip.
Smart. Did you sense any resistance or bias being a woman and being a woman who dates women?
So yes, it's hard anyway. Being whether you white, black, yellow, green, being a woman in the police department, the odds is to get you. But being a lesbian woman, being black and coming from the hood, it was a whole different dynamic. So I had to go like extra hard, but it's very hard for women. What I didn't like was, as a cop, I had got in trouble before. DV. Or like just to keep it nice, cut and simple. When you
As
have
a civilian or while you was
while I
at
was
work?
a cop. While I was at work. Actually a cop, girlfriend jealous. We had like an agreement. Oh, don't come in the house after 6 a.m. You young, come in the house 6 a.m. It's an argument. The first thing people do, which I don't like, is threaten your job. Like when they know you have something to lose and they don't have it and they upset and they mad, the first thing they want to do, I'm gonna threaten your job.
That's
you playing with me?
heel.
I'm gonna. So got into an incident with my girlfriend. She threatened my job and all of that. But I really was the victim. But because I'm the aggressor, or the stud,
Perceived
perceived
as
as the masculine woman, I'm automatically the bad guy. So it's a lot of that. It's a lot. But I experience a lot of, I would say, discrimination because of how I was.
Give us an example.
Um,
Because we haven't had the experience or the testimony. It's been all male oriented. The sergeants we had were all male oriented. Your experience is eye opening because there are women right now, younger reflections of yourself with women, some not, that are thinking about it and they may be hesitant because they've heard that it's not really rolling out the red carpet for us like they perceive in the flyer. Because in the flyer,
yes, they got the gold LBGT.
yeah,
Everybody welcome.
Everybody's welcome. Everybody's embraced. Please, ladies, LG, wherever you identify as, come.
Please
but
come.
I want to know what it's like when you're there.
So when you're there, depending on like where you at, like if you're in a precinct where they down to earth, it's okay. But a lot of times, just like the way I walked, the way I talk, I wasn't girly enough. They want to see, not for nothing, the feminine women. Even when it come down to our hair, they want the black chicks that got perms and all of that. They don't like when you got natural hair. It's a lot of different things. You get the little jokes or whatever,
From the males or the females?
From everybody. I mean,
okay.
From everybody. It's not all collectively like just, I'm walking in there like, oh, there go the dyke. You understand what I'm saying? But you get the jokes. You get the, oh, she thinks she a man, right? When I like got in trouble with the situation with my girlfriend, they asking her everything. They just painting me. They not asking me like, well, what happened? Are you I automatically was the bad guy.
But these were other officers?
Yes, other officers.
So there wasn't that professional courtesy?
So let me tell you this. Yes and no. It depends on the situation and they play. So how can I put it? Say like if you're not really liked, right? I'm going to respect you because we in blue, but now if you really in a situation and we really don't like you, I'm not really giving you that courtesy like that. So I can act as if I'm extending the courtesy. You understand what I'm saying? Like, okay, officer such and such, stand over here. But then I'm over here doing something, I don't really like her anyway. Let's see what the girls say. You understand what I'm saying? So it all depends like what you're going through, where you at, who you like. Believe it or not, we talk about gangs. NYPD is one of the biggest gangs there is. So if they don't like you, they really will blackball you. And a lot of times people don't want to talk about it because they scared. Like we'll get into my situation. When things happen to you, say like something happened to me and you an officer and you was there and you see they doing me dirty and you could be my witness to help me out. Oh, nah, listen, Notch, I mess with you, you cool, but I don't want no parts because I don't want the retaliation and I don't want them in my backyard. So a lot of people be scared to talk about how NYPD treat their own when it comes to the negative stuff.
So
Because
there's
they
the
don't
in
want
crowd and there's the
out
outside crowd.
Yes.
And you want to be with the
In
in.
crowd. If you're that type of person. See, with me, what I think went wrong, not went wrong with me, but how my thing unfolded, a natural born leader, I'm very outspoken, and I don't care who you are. I'm not doing anything wrong. So a lot of times, it's who you know and who asks you kiss. If you're not kissing butt to a certain extent, they don't like that. So I'm gonna give you an example. I was working in the 71st precinct. So half of it is Jews and half of it is blacks. They expect you to go to the black side, write summonses, go crazy. When you get to the Jew side, you can't write them people summonses and things like that. If you writing them for say like if I go to the black side, I write them for jaywalking. That's okay. Let me go to the Jewish side and write somebody for jaywalking. They calling, they bringing their lawyers, they bringing a rabbi to the precinct, they tickets and stuff is getting thrown out. If you working on the Jewish side and you get a lot of complaints, they ain't your post no more. They gonna pack you up and put you somewhere else. So it was a guy, it was a black man and a Jewish male got into a car accident. The Jewish guy left the scene of the accident. So if it's a car accident and somebody's hurt and you leave the scene, that's automatically a crime. Like you go to jail for that.
Correct.
So now get to the scene of the accident. It's an older black guy. He telling us what happened. He telling us he got pain. He got the guy license plate, but the guy drove off. At this point, when we get there, we don't know who the guy is.
But we have the plate.
So we got the plate and everything. So I write the report as a hit and run. The guy is here. I take his information. So not only do I write the accident report, I got to write the complaint report because now I'm looking for whoever's driving this car with this plate ABCD because now you left us the scene of an accident, which is a crime. So I do that. We go back to the precinct because after you do everything, you got to go to the precinct and turn the paperwork in. I go to the precinct. I turn the paperwork in. The Jewish guy comes there with the rabbi.
So he turns himself in with the rabbi.
No, he don't turn himself in. He's come to the precinct with the rabbi saying he was the guy that had the accident. So why did you leave? Oh, I feared for my life. Bogus story. You could tell the story was bogus. I tried to call 911, but my phone went black. I took the battery out. I put it back in. It didn't. So I was scared, so I left. Everybody that was there, like if you was there while that was going on, you know that was not the story. So now they talk to the inspector. That's the highest guy there that's actually running the precinct. He pulls me to the side. Oh, Stroud, can you do me a favor? Is it possible that you disregard the 61, which is the complaint that would get him locked up for leaving the scene of the accident, and just write it up as a regular car accident? So me being who I am, no, I will not, sir. If you want me to do it, you do it. Or if I do it, I'm putting as per you. So if this come back and bite me in my butt, as per Inspector such and such on this date and time made me do this. Mm-hmm. So that just was an eye opener to me because if the shoe was on the other foot, they wouldn't have told me to don't do the 61. That black guy, if he would have left the scene of the accident and he came with a pastor or a priest, he would have been going to prison. Well, going through the system. I'm not going to say prison, but he been going through the system. So it's a lot of who you know, what you know, if they like you, this one called you. So it was just looked at me like, sat with me wrong. Like, oh, they could get away with anything, but the black community, let's just hammer them.
Mm. I can imagine how hard that is because you want to serve, right? You want to serve. You go in with an open mind and an open heart, and it's almost fighting a war of attrition. You put your finger in one crack in the wall, another crack opens. So then you put another finger in that crack. Now you're putting your thumb in it, you're putting your pinky in it, and you're trying to hold this wall up. Not so much the blue wall, but honor, integrity, and professionalism, all of the things that were probably embedded in you from childhood because your mother was in law enforcement. And You're trying to serve your community. You know, Crown Heights, Brooklyn, the planet of Brooklyn, that's your community. Did they put pressure on you? Because it's almost like the tale of two cities. Crown Heights is a part of Brooklyn, but the experience of probably the Caribbeans and the FBAs is a very different experience than that Hasidic community that is living there also. Was there quotas placed on you guys of like a certain amount of citations that should be written?
So in general, they wanted you to, it wasn't really like a number, but you had to work. So I couldn't say like you gotta write C summonses, which is say like if I caught somebody urinating or something and I don't want to arrest them, I'll give them a C summons. That's in lieu of an arrest. Parking summons, moving violations, or eventually arrest somebody. So we had, I forgot the name of the paper, but it was a paper that you would write what you did every day. And then you have to turn it in at the end of the month. So it wasn't like necessary quotas, but I couldn't come in at the end of the month with no arrests, no summonses, no something. So basically, you have some people that come on roll call, listen, guys, get the business, the summonses is low, write summonses, do this, do that. So it wasn't like go outside and write 10 summonses today, but you are here to do a job.
Be
so
proactive.
You can't tell me you was on a beat for 8 hours and you ain't see nobody drive by on a cell phone. You know, you ain't see nobody, I'm just saying, litter or do certain things. So they do want you to be active. Was it certain people that were like certain like supervisors that would be blunt and be like, you better not come in here with nothing. You better come in here with at least 3. Yeah, but it wasn't like, oh, today when I go out, I got to get 10 summonses or I have to get a arrest. But for the month, you got to at least have an arrest for the month or at least have a few tickets for the month. You cannot be, not active.
When you would be the one that would answer a call in the community, did you see a look of relief on the faces of the people, fear or indifference?
So I would say everything you just said, it all depends on the people. So depending on the cause, you'll get some people that be relief, but then, it's some people that's just so ignorant, all they see is the uniform. So they don't see like, they just see the uniform, so they're already indifferent, they mad, they aggravated because they just don't want to deal with the police. So I've been in situations where I got calls where they don't want to deal with the police, but when I'm talking to them or me and my partner and they see how we are, it's a relief. Like, oh, okay, like I could relate to y'all. I like the way y'all handling me, but it all depends on the people and how, their perspective with the police. Because I had people who loved me. Like when I used to do the beat on Utica, they used to love me. But then you got some people who, I'm the police, they just never gonna like me because they see the uniform. So it all depends on, initially, nobody wanna deal with the police when the neighborhoods I serve. But then when you talk to them and deal with them, depending on how you were, when it came to me, people would be a little bit more relaxed.
The walls will kind of come down. They will come down just with the human interaction. You was gonna say something, honey? Oh, I thought you was gonna say something. So take us to the journey of the chaos.
Okay, so
how did you get introduced to what later led you to leaving the badge?
Okay, so I want to say this. So now when I become a cop, the goal was to help people. But when you there, don't get me wrong, you help people on the way, but you really don't help people. It's a lot of politics with policing. I didn't know that. So, all right, being a cop, I'm working, I'm a hard worker, I'm doing things, but like I said, it's who like you and who asked you kiss. I'm not that type of person. So being young and things like that, I can honestly say, I was young, I was cocky, I was arrogant. So looking back, I felt like I could have changed that, like coming in. So I would say I rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. I was the one in the precinct where I was the big mouth. I never forget, we did overtime. And when you do overtime, you could do paperwork to get cash or like meaning, money on your check, or you could do time, meaning if you want vacation time.
Okay.
So now we do overtime, we coming in, we got to do our paperwork, and the sergeant like, oh, you got to put it in time. You can't put it in cash. So me with my big mouth, says who? That's not no rule. Do you need me to call a union? I'm putting mine in cash. I don't care what you tell him to do. Excuse me. But I'm putting mines in cash. So I did mines. I put mines in cash. He took it. He just like, oh, Stroud, you a troublemaker. So just because the type of person I was, you're not going to just be able to tell me anything.
Because you didn't go along
I
to get
didn't
along.
go. So so I would say I pissed some people off. Like I said,
Higher up people who were in position.
yeah, people who was in position. I had this one, so it's an IOC, right? Which is a lieutenant, and basically they supposed to see over the police officers, and if the integrity control officer, that's was the position. So they see over the police officers. So any complaints or anything that could get you in trouble, the people supposed to ask for the IOC officer. For some reason, I never seen this man, never met him, came into contact with him until I was a police officer, a white guy. I forgot his name, but for some reason, he did not like me. He could not stand me. I don't know what it was. When I did see him, how you doing, sir? Keep it pushing, but nothing more than that. So remember I told you I had got into trouble with my girlfriend when I was in the academy and a cop. So I was on monitoring. So monitoring is like you're on a punishment and they watching you to see if you're gonna stay a cop or if they're gonna let you go.
Are you still going outside or are you in the office?
No, I'm still going outside. You just on monitoring. Like you're full duty, but they monitoring every little thing. So any little thing, wrong step could get you fired opposed to a regular person that's just on regular probation, right? So I'm on monitoring. Monitoring is for a year. So every 3 months, they have to get a report on me.
Okay.
So
So
they gotta-
there's a person that
Yeah.
is monitoring your progress.
Yup, looking at my job,
then they'll
my
make
work,
a
and they make a
report.
progress report,
Okay.
and they got to go to the higher up and 1PP who actually fires people.
Okay.
So I'm on monitoring. All my stuff is good. Everything is good. I get a phone call from the lady because now my monitoring is coming to an end. They're like, "Oh, Stroud, you doing good. Just keep doing what you're doing. You will be off in 3 months and everything will be good." So now it's my last report. He have to get my last report. He gives my last report and go crazy on me to the point where when I went to go check in to her and do everything, she was like, "You're off of monitoring," but she had to ask me. She said, "Your ICO sent this report." She read it to me. And it broke my heart what this man was saying. So she was like, "I just want to know." She said, "I'm going to disregard what he's saying because I know I could read from what he's saying. It's personal." So she had to ask me on a side note, "Do you know this guy? Did you ever see him outside? Like, did you have any interactions with this man besides the job? Because what he's writing about you, if I didn't get the other reports, or at this time we had a rapport because I had to go see her every 3 months.
Right.
So if I didn't know you and had a rapport with you and I seen this paper, you would be fired." So that passed. She just was like, "Listen."
Where did he get this information? Is he just making allegations against you in the report?
No,
Or
so
was he attacking your character?
He was attacking my character. Poor work. So at one point, I used to drive the sergeant. So they got to trust you because they pick their drivers. So he put something in the report like, "Oh, really not a good worker, drives the sergeant." So the sergeant, I'm pretty sure like the sergeant got her to arrest. Everything that was good about me, he just was flipping it to a bad side and trying to write it as if I'm not really a good officer. I don't belong there. He was coming like, I don't remember everything, but basically he was attacking my character. But whatever he was saying about my character and my work ethic, the chief, because she was a chief, realized that it was personal. So whatever he had against me, it was personal, but he was writing it in a professional way to try to basically get me clipped. So she just basically told me, "Don't worry about it. We know this is personal. Just stay away from him and you'll be off in a few months." So at that time, I was cool about it. But then looking back, I thought about it like, this man is a lieutenant. He's an ICO. He personally got a vendetta against me. So you did do your due diligence by disregarding what he said and passing me on my monitoring. But my thing was, why would you keep me in that precinct? Because now I got to higher up. Remember, it go by seniority. So if you're the sergeant and I'm the officer, no matter what, it's your word. Like if something go down, it's your word against mine, and usually they're gonna ride with you because you're the boss.
You're the senior.
Remember, it's militant, it's paramilitant. So whatever my sergeant say, whatever the boss say, that's basically that's law. So when I look back, it just was like, okay, it was a blessing, but why would you still keep me in a precinct where you know a higher up lieutenant don't like me? Because now, you know, he don't like me. He could put me on a bad post. He could, like when it was overtime, they was giving out overtime. I applied for it. He told the sergeant, I don't care what you do. Don't give Stroud nothing. So it was just a lot of little things like.
So locked you out of earning extra money.
Locked me out of earning extra money. It was just a lot of little things. So then what I learned too is ICOs from all different precincts and stuff, they have meetings every month. So now say like if I don't like you and I'm an ICO, I got a list of who I don't like. So now I'm planting a seed. Okay, look out for this one. Officer Stroud. She's this, she's that, she's that. So they have these meetings. So now it's seeds planting. So now when I go other places, or you know how you do details, you got to go to other precincts, you got to go to other places. People already got a perception about Officer Stroud, and they didn't even personally meet me or even work with me. So, all right, let's bring it up.
Seeds planted.
Yeah, so seeds planted. So, you know, so I had my little hiccups and things like that, but nothing too crazy. So basically, I was that one that, like I said, a big mouth, they don't like stuff like that. They want you, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, and just go with the flow. So now, bring it up to see, mind you, I'm from the hood. So I was actually living in Brownsville when I was a police officer. I was living up the hill, Brownsville, on Park Place in Saratoga, just to give you that area, right?
I'm familiar.
My aunt was living downstairs, or whatever the case may be. She had surgery. Yeah, she had surgery. She was in a hospital. I never went to go see her. But I used to be downstairs in her house. She used to be doing my laundry, things like that. So now she like, how you ain't never come see me when I was in the hospital? But when she had the surgery, they cut her colon. And in the process of that, she wasn't feeling good, so they had to rush her back to the hospital. So after that, I'm like, let me go see her. I'm coming in the building. I go straight to her house. I'm talking to her. I'm going to see her, like, make sure she all right. See, okay, she just laying in the bed, you know, whatever. We talking. Next thing you know is her husband come in the house. He comes in the house or whatever. I say what up to him, but I'm talking to her. Next thing you know is a loud thump. Pow! They raid her crib. So now they raid her apartment with me in it. I mean, I was scared to death. It was like a movie. It was like SWAT. You know, they vest up, big guns. They raised the crib. I'm scared to death. I got my hands up. I'm like, yo, don't shoot.
Do you identify yourself as an officer?
I said, listen, don't shoot, but I'm a police officer. I ain't even wave my hand. I was like this with my, like, yo, my badge and ID is in this back pocket. So they take my badge and ID. Oh, what you doing here? Oh, I came to see my aunt, or whatever the case may be. So in the process of all that, they raid the apartment. They take the husband. They looking for all these big drugs or whatever. They never find it. Whatever they was looking for, allegedly, he had some stuff in his butt, but I wasn't in his butt, so I wouldn't know. But whatever they came for there, what they was looking in the house, was not there. So from there, they take me to the precinct and all that. I'm automatically suspended. They don't ask me what happened.
Because you were in the home.
Because to them, I was in a drug-prone location, which was my aunt's house. Mind you, I lived in the same building upstairs on the 4th floor. They seen my ID, they seen everything. So I'm automatically suspended. 30 days, no pay. But before that, when they take me, they got to take my hair, they cut my hair, make sure no drugs or nothing in my system, all that. So I got to go all through the ringer. They do all that, and then they suspend me. Okay.
So EEO can't step in, the union can't step in to advocate for you?
All right, so my union did come. But let me just tell you about the union. The union rep that came for me, she was good. She was there for me. But remember, it's who you like. So I could be the union rep, but if I ain't really messing with you like that or like you like that, I'm going to do my job, but I'm going to do the bare minimum. You understand what I'm saying? Then there's some union reps, oh, I mess with you, so I'm going to go the extra mile. My union rep was very good, but with that situation, with her being there and being good, it was nothing she could do anyway because I was in a drug-prone location. So that was automatically me getting suspended. You understand what I'm saying? So she was there. She was the best union rep I ever had. But like I said, her hands was tied. So automatic suspended. Okay, cool. I'm
With
good.
no pay.
No pay. So I'm good. I know, listen, I was here to see my aunt. I wasn't doing nothing wrong. I done took my hair. I don't do drugs or nothing. Whatever. Leave it. So from there, after I was suspended for the 30 days with no pay, I came back and I was modified, meaning I was working with the court. So you don't have your gun, you don't have nothing. So I was just basically paperwork and stuff like that. I come back. When that happens, I don't notice. Now I'm under investigation because to them, I wasn't just at the wrong place at the wrong time. I have to know what was going on or whatever they had, investigation I had to know. So not knowing this, I'm under investigation for about 2 years.
So you
Phone
were under
tap, I don't know.
investigation 2 years.
2 years, and I don't know this though. I know this now. So in the process, I don't know. Phone tap, following me like the real movies, following me, recording me, all of this. 2 years. So now when something happened, the city only have the 24 months for investigation. So if nothing closed within that time, if they don't find nothing or nothing, they have to close the investigation. So in the process of being under investigation or whatever, I was working security. I was working security. I was doing security like at the different Adidas stores. In the process of working security, I met this young lady.
Do you think she was sent to you?
No, I'm telling you, she was sent to me. So I didn't know this then, but I know now. Just my type. At the time, I was dating nothing but Latino women. Latino, big butt, everything I like. Mind you, they've been watching me for 2 years, so they know what I like, what I don't like. Everything that I like, that person was. So I'm doing security. She come and talk to me. I think she asked me to help her. And I'm like, well, I can't help you. I'm security, but they can help you. We wound up talking. I had like some designer sneakers on. She said she liked my sneakers. We wound up talking. We wound up exchanging numbers. Whole time she was an undercover cop. Never knew this.
So she was sent to you.
She was sent to me. So when they was watching me and they thought I was this big drug dealer and involved in all this stuff, when they seen I wasn't involved and that the investigation was coming to an end, now they threw somebody in there. Because I guess they don't want to look dumb. They spending the taxpayers' money and everything. So my thing is, anybody in the world, if I'm following you for 2 years, whatever you doing, I'm gonna know. Cause I remember you don't know I'm following you. So if whatever you doing, I'm taking pictures, I'm videoing you. It was times that the police was even in clubs and stuff that I was in watching me. So my thing is, if I'm following you for 2 years, I know everything you doing. So now it's coming to an end. I'm really not doing anything that they think I was doing. They can't go with that. They can't just, well, you know what? Wrong place, wrong time. She was out on house. Everything is good.
In your aunt's house, but you live in the building. Yeah.
On the 4th floor. And they know this. But anyway, so now I meet the girl. We start rapping and all this and all that. Which, not for nothing, I could be honest, I shouldn't even spoke to her. Like, I had a girlfriend, but at that time, me and my girlfriend was going through it. So I'm
20-something years old.
Yeah, so I'm just thinking, fuck that bitch. So she acting funny. So I start talking to the lady. We hanging. She told me her name was Lisa. We start hanging. We start chilling. We dating. We going to the movies. We going out to eat. We doing everything. Whole time she a whole undercover cop. They sent her to me. Yes, but not all the way. Kissing, fondling.
Petty.
Yeah, petty. It wasn't full throttle. But it was enough.
Really
you understand
good.
what I'm saying? But she was really good. Mind you, she told me she was 30. When everything hit the fan, the lady was 50 years old. I'm like, you older than my mama. But anyway, yo. But all right, so I meet her, we hanging, we chilling. All vibes and stuff is good. We talking all the time, everything. So this one particular time, she gets in my car. We go to eat at where we was at? BBQs. She was like, oh, can you take me to drop something off and pick something up? I'm like, I ain't really question it or whatever. So we get in the car. We finish eating and chilling. We get in the car. I double park or whatever. Wait, let me back it up. because that's like the last ending. So there's a lot of times we hung and chilled, and she had drugs on her, and I didn't know. So the NYPD felt that I was a drug dealer and all that. So they call it integrity test. So they infiltrated me with this chick and had her around me to see if I indulged in drugs.
But did she ever offer?
So no, she never offered. But what I learned when I went to trial and stuff like that is numerous times she hung around me and had little tote bags and book bags, and she had drugs and stuff on her, but I never knew or never seen it. So when we was hanging and chilling and she had the drugs on her, she was then told, you can't just have drugs on you. You have to figure out a way to show her the drugs so she could be now involved. So I don't know this. I'm finding this out at trial. You know, all of this is coming out at trial.
So what would she do?
Now we go out to eat, we hanging, we chilling. She's like, oh, can you drop me off and pick me up somewhere? I mean, drop me off to take something. I'm like, yeah. Regular, we chilling. I pull up on a block in like Dykeman, up there, way uptown. I'm double parked. She gets out the car. I can't tell you if she went left or right or which way she went. But she gets out the car, she come back in my car with a bag. I don't know what's in the bag. At the time, I think I'm texting and FaceTiming, and she like, yo, tell them you gonna hit them back. So I'm like, all right, yo, I'll hit you back or whatever. And we going about our business. We go driving, but in the whole time I'm driving, and say like this is the bag. I'm driving, she's the passenger, but she keep like fiddling and messing with the bag. So I'm like, yo, what's in this bag that you keep touching it? She opens the bag, pulls out a whole kilo of cocaine. Now, when I saw
That's the integrity test.
that's the integrity test. So now when I saw it, I swear to everything, I never saw nothing like that in my life. So I'm like, what the fuck is that? I'm bugged out. Like, yo, what the fuck is that? Like, put that away. Like, is you bugging? So now she throws me in a conversation. She like, you from the hood. She used to call me Poppy. You from the hood, Poppy. You never seen a brick of cocaine before? So in my mind, I'm like, hell no. Niggas in the hood don't got this. And if they got this, they not in the hood. So I could be honest, I wasn't thinking like a cop. So even when I met her, I never told her I was a cop. I portrayed to her I was a security guard. But remind you, she already knew who I was. So at this point in time, in my mind, I'm just like, let me get this bitch where she gotta go so she can get the fuck out of my car. Like, let me just drop her off. So we go, boom, drop her off. She go about her business. I go about my business. We talk a few times after that. We hang a few times after that. I don't think nothing of it. Like, you know,
So it was just that single time she showed you the bread.
yeah, that was that single time. But according to them, numerous times when we hung out, she had drugs on her. But I never seen it. So this is when I actually saw what she had. Boom, leave it. We hang, we chill a few more times. That's about it. I'm going to work regular, everything. I go to work. When I get to work, I'm about to go to roll call. My lieutenant like, oh, Stroud, IAB is in here. They want to see you. So I ain't thinking nothing of it. All right. I go in the office. Soon as I walk in, they like turn around. You being arrested for official misconduct. So when they say official misconduct, I'm still not thinking nothing because official misconduct is a big umbrella. Official misconduct is me supposed to write you a summons and I'll let you, you know, like it could be anything from small, minute to something big. So it's nothing. So the first thing I'm thinking, well, let me call my mother. They being nasty. They don't even want me to call my mother enough time. I'm like, man, let me call my mother. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but they arrested me. They said, let's go. They're going to be at Hodges Place, like downtown Chambers. Call my mother. We get there. They take me upstairs and all of that. So I can't be with everybody. I'm separate. So I'm in the office or whatever the case may be. They go to fingerprint me and all that. And the process of them fingerprinting me, I actually was fingerprinting myself because I knew how to do it.
But you're not thinking this is going to turn into
what is going to turn
a trial with the Supreme Court.
I'm not thinking none of that.
Because again, misconduct.
Yes.
Could be
they
anything.
Just said official misconduct. It could be anything. So I'm not thinking, all right, probably I get in trouble, whatever. As I'm fingerprinting myself, and we get finished, the sergeant gonna say, because a cop can't arrest a cop. So if you arrest an officer, it gotta be a sergeant of above. So the sergeant gonna come and say, oh yeah, and you being charged with criminal possession of a controlled substance. I went crazy. I jumped up like, what? On my person? on me. So I lost it for a little bit. But then I realized where I was at. So I said, oh, okay, well, let me call my lawyer. Let me call my family. So I'm telling my mother, I'm like, Ma, we had a family lawyer. Let's call our lawyer. At the time, my family lawyer was in trial, so I couldn't even get him. But it just blew my mind because I'm like, what? Me, on my person? And like the way he told me to charge, it was like, the way his face was, the way he was, it was like a smirk, like, yeah, like he knew it was some bullshit. You know what I mean?
When he said that, did Lisa pop in your head?
Not at that time. So after I start spazzing, then that situation pops in my head. Like, oh man, like I dropped the ball. Like that's how I felt like I made a fucked up decision. So, but all these emotions and stuff, so I'm near there. So I really don't know if I'm coming, I'm going. There's a lot going on. Boom. But when I say they had this plan from the T, I lost the trial before I even went to trial. From the judge, my arraignment judge, they picked the judge, they did all that. Like when I said they did me filthy, because I got family, that's in law enforcement, so my mother and them calling around, my uncles and them making phone calls, and he calling his good friend that's a lawyer and telling what's going on. And he like, your niece, she a cop, and it's in Manhattan. The lawyer guy was like, whatever it is, it's serious. So what I learned was every borough is different. So I could do something and get in, say like, all right, me and you steal a car, hypothetically speaking. I steal it in Brooklyn. I could get R because Brooklyn is more of a poor borough opposed to Manhattan. But if you do it in Manhattan, you're not getting R. So depending where you at in the situation, if you in certain courts, you're not, what's the name? So the mere fact that now that I know that they entrapped me and set me up, but they say integrity test, they made sure the integrity test and everything happened in Manhattan. If it would have happened in Brooklyn, when I got arraigned, I would have been auto-art. I didn't get it. Well, when I got arraigned, they reprimanded me and gave me a $500,000 bail. So now, what I know now, like sitting out of it and what I went through, everything was already paved. They made sure the trouble was, like, they made sure we was in Manhattan when she showed me the drugs. So now the offense happened in Manhattan. Mind you, we was eating and hanging in the Bronx. Even if it would have happened in the Bronx, I would have been auto-R. So it was a lot of different things. So go to arraignment, or whatever the case.
Do you have a union attorney with?
So the union didn't want to represent me. When we called my union, they was like, oh, nah, we ain't representing Stroud. Yes. So the Lewin lawyer did not even represent me. So it's cool. So first we got this one, I got a regular, what you call it? Public defender or whatever the case may be. But then when he had a case, he like, oh, I don't know if I want to take it. Then I don't want to be a one-day lawyer, this, and that. So it was a lot with that. So he arraigned me or whatever. They say the charges and all that, like I'm baffled. But when I come downstairs, they got the cameras, lights, So they already had it set up. As they bringing me down, the cameras, people rushing me. It was crazy.
So the paparazzi were there waiting for you.
It was waiting. Everything was there lined up. So they already had, like I said, paparazzi lined up. They had the judge. So they say all the charges. At this time, I'm there, but I can't even tell you, like, I know what's going on. Like, it's like I did like a blank. I'm there, but I'm not. So they say all this, or whatever the case may have been, reprimand, $500,000 bail. When I got to the back, that's when it like just snapped.
When you heard $500,000 bail,
it blew my mind. I'm like, well, I know my family gonna try to get it, but in my mind, like, $500,000, like, where the hell you think? I'm saying, where I'm getting that money from?
right?
So
Not only where I'm getting money, why is it that we haven't heard those kind of numbers? I don't know if any of the so-called terrorist bills. I think their bills was $1 million, so $500,000.
But let me tell you this too. And then during that time when my situation happened, it was a lot of other cops that got in trouble. $50,000 bail, or it was a lot of different things. So my case was like very special, and the way they did it, it was very strategic. You understand what I'm saying? So now, what's the name? Now, when I meet my lawyer and everything, he was like, that's the meanest judge in this district.
Great.
So no, he just saying, he just like
No, I'm just saying you just happen to get the meanest judge in the
he
Eastern
just like
District.
they, you know how I go. They made sure she was my judge. So now, I'm waiting to go to Rikers Island.
What was that bus ride? What is a word that could describe that bus ride across that bridge?
Ah man, like I can't. I just felt like it was like so real. Like I didn't know how I was emotional. I wasn't trying to cry. You ain't cry tough, but it was just like I felt like it was an out of body experience. Like I didn't know how to feel, but it didn't feel real. I just felt like this can't be me right now, right? Like it was just crazy. So I kept my cool, went there, whatever the case may be. So when I go
Did the
through,
COs know who you were?
yes, let me tell you this. Remember, I'm an officer. Most of my friends was cops and COs.
Yes,
So
and
now
your
when we
mother
get
and your
my
family.
mother, they know my mother and all that stuff, my family. My uncle actually retired deputy warden. So, my family is all through there. And friends. And the crazy thing is we just was out like last month partying. So now when we get there and it's intake, one of the officers that know me, she popped the whole gate where she was at. Like, come here, what you doing here? And I'm just lost for words like, yo, they set me up. They said, that's all I kept repeating, like, yo, they set me up. I can't even tell you why I'm here. So, they put me through, and then I had to go. First, I was in a building by myself because they didn't want me with nobody. I was in a building by myself for a few months, and then they put me in PC. And I had to be in PC because even though I was arrested, until I went to trial and was guilty or not, I was still an officer.
Are you isolated in PC? One person, one cell?
So yeah, everybody have their own cell, but it's still a housing area. So
Okay.
we was out collectively to eat and do things like that together in a housing area. But very limited movement. You could go to like the law library, certain things, but everything that everybody was able to do, I wasn't able to do. And then when I did have to go to like the law library or to the medical or anything, I had to be escorted by a captain or above. So I couldn't even be by myself. So let's bring it up to. So I sit on Rikers Island for a year. My family screaming, trying to get the bail. Had a bail hearing. Had the same mean judge. Denied the bail hearing and all that. So
On
no
what
bail.
grounds did she deny the bail?
I can't even tell you. But denied the bail hearing. They was even trying to give me a bail hearing. Say give me a ankle bracelet. I could be at home. My family could. She wasn't hearing none of that. So my family was trying to get the money up. My grandma went to put her condo up. It wasn't enough equity in the house. My aunt, we just didn't have it. Like everybody was doing what they had to do. We didn't have the money. So I sat on Rikers Island for a year. Went to trial. So I go to trial. Through the process of the trial, first off, they was trying to talk me into getting different deals and stuff like that. So I'm a very stand-up person. If I really was dealing drugs and all in the mix and I got caught, I wouldn't mind taking a plea deal because I'm just that type of person. Yo, I messed up. I dropped the ball. Let me do what I got to do. So I wasn't trying to take no office off the rip because in my mind, did I make a bad decision by not kicking that lady out my car and driving her? Yes, I did. But I'm not a bad guy. I'm not selling no drugs. You watched me for 2 years and I wasn't doing none of that. So y'all entrapped me. And then during that, okay, I dropped the ball, but I'm not taking no plea deals. So it was different plea deals or whatever. And the process of getting trying to get the lawyers, I had one lawyer named Fisher. My mother, he agreed to be my lawyer. My mother was taking him. He wanted, I think, like $30,000. My mother wanted a $10,000 payment. My mother went to take it to him, and the process of taking him in the payment, he was like, oh, nah, I don't want to represent her no more. It's too much politics with this case. It's too much. I don't want to. So now, back to square one, looking for lawyers. Because of the case, because I was a cop, they prices were ridiculous. $50,000, $100,000. If I'm paying you $50,000 or $100,000, you guaranteeing me to walk out that courtroom. So it was bad. So I wound up getting an ATB lawyer. So, that's the good lawyers, but they, do some free cases for the state. So I had Alex Grossum. He was a beast. He done did mobsters and all of that. So God bless me with that lawyer. And then it was funny because the family friend that was the lawyer, he know Alex, and he was like, "You're in good hands." He personally didn't take the case because he felt like, God forbid, if you was the blow, I could never forgive myself because it's gonna be like what I didn't do right. But he was like, "You in good hand with Alex." So I took Alex. Alex was good. He was basically, we not begging for nothing. We gonna do all this. So we go to trial. And I get the entrapment plea, the entrapment defense. So let me tell you about entrapment. Usually, like if somebody get locked up and go on to trial and you got different defense, you could say what your defensive up front. But when you going for entrapment, you can't say my defense is entrapment. You have to build up, your defense for them then to say, okay, I see the entrapment, I
Okay.
grant it. So now when we first get there and, we start and everything and they like, well, what is your defense? My lawyer was like, we don't have a defense as of yet. So the judge was like, okay. I had a regular jury by my peers. I could have had a judge jury, but I was scared. I mean, a judge, I was scared because my thing is they picked everybody else. It'd be just my luck they picked a buddy and then I'm sitting somewhere for years or whatever. So I picked the jury with my peers.
Did you get to see what they had in discovery stacked against you?
So yes, they had yes. My lawyer let me see some of the discovery and stuff like that. Yes.
Photos?
They had photos, they had videos. It was more videos. So all the dates and stuff that me and Lisa was going on, everything, her watch, her bag, her belt, a lot of stuff was video and audio. So it was more than anything, it was all video and audio. So for the most part, everything was video and audio. It really wasn't no picture. It was just like live what was going on inside. But let me tell you how things is funny. When a lot of different things went down, the video and the audio was broke. It was down. So it's a lot of stuff that they don't have. But when it came up in court and stuff, they devices was broke or this was down and that was down. So that's very funny to me because it's stuff
That's part of the evidence.
that's part of the
isn't it?
evidence, but now that's down. But this ain't down. So a lot of video and audio. So now I got Alex, he good. We go through and everything. The trial went good. You could not tell me I wasn't walking out of there. So now it's coming up to the end.
Did she testify?
Yeah, she got up there testify lying like a rug.
What did she testify to?
We wasn't in a relationship. We was just friends. I was like her business partner.
So is she an officer?
No, all right, so she's not an informant. So she's actually an undercover officer. So she was with, when we got to everything, she was with the department for over 20 years, but she was undercover. So when they undercover, IAB and stuff is their bosses, because nobody supposed to know that they still a cop. So it's like if I was a cop and if she was like a regular cop and she went undercover, they'd make it look like she quit or left the job, but she's really an undercover. So she wasn't a regular informant, like we would say in the street, like a snitch. No, she was a cop that was undercover. So like we see, what's that movie everybody used to watch?
So many.
In Too Deep?
In Too Deep. She
Yes,
was JD.
She was JD. Yes, just the female version. So she got on the stand. I got on the stand. She was, crying, acting like everything she told me was true. She just lied about her name and this, that, and the fourth. I said my piece. So now when it's coming to an end, the judge grants the entrapment. So now I think it's like 2 days left in my trial. My trial went for like a week and a half. It's 2 days left in the trial. And the judge is like, well, what is your defense? And that's what my lawyer said, entrapment. So she said, okay, I see the entrapment. Excuse me. I grant it. So this is my argument. If it wasn't entrapment, she wouldn't have granted it. So this is where it blows my mind at. Everybody, the defense say what they gotta say. The prosecutors say what they gotta say. The defense, we here for all these days. They got their evidence. We got our evidence, text messages, all that stuff. Everybody giving their side of the story. It's time for me to get my defense. It's entrapment. The judge agreed that it was entrapment. So from right then and there, if the judge agreed to me, this is my mind, agreed that it was entrapment, how the hell can y'all find me guilty? Because if it wasn't entrapment, she wouldn't have gave us the plea. She would have said, she wouldn't have gave us the defense. She would have said, I don't see entrapment. It's not entrapment. Come with something else. So she gave us the entrapment. So in my mind, right there, okay, I really was entrapped. But now, even with my evidence and all that, the judge sees entrapment. She grants us the entrapment defense. How do they still find me guilty? They found me guilty on everything. And it just like broke. Like when they came out,
The jury
came out and they said guilty. It was like my stomach twist. I was sick. But now that I look back, I felt something was so wrong because when they came back with the decision, like when the judge looked at it, it's like she dropped her jaw. But I'm remembering this now. And then when they came, it was guilty. It blew my mind.
What did Grossman say?
Of course, we're gonna do the appeal and everything, So did the appeal, did all that, but it was a lot. But this is what I'm real mad about. If they didn't want me on their job, or if they felt I wasn't the right fit, I got a college degree, I got education, you understand? I got other backgrounds. Y'all could have just fired me. But to do all this and then paint this picture of me, I done lost people that I thought was friends, family members, all of that. And what hurt me the most, like people that really know me, they know like, oh, all right, nah, Naj wasn't doing all that. It was a mistake. Or, she dropped the ball. But when this all was going on, everybody believing it. But when I went through trial, it came out like, they set me up and all this and all that. But it was just hurtful, like going through it, and people really was believing the bullshit. They got all type of story. Oh, she was drug trafficking. Oh, she was getting money. Oh, she was doing this. All this stuff in the news, lying. Oh, she came to court with a hoodie. Like, just portraying these stories and built, like, messing up my character and all that. And it hurt me because it wasn't me and I really couldn't defend myself. But for people that I thought that loved me or really knew me, we grew up from, diapers. You my aunt, you my uncle. Like, I'm just saying, you my cut. Like, we broke bread together and you see this shit on the news and you really believe in it.
Betrayal, I think, is the hardest to accept. And it only hurts when it's from people we love. Can't hurt from people we don't care about.
You know what I'm saying?
Can only hurt from the people we love.
So that's why I really was hurt, because it's just like, if y'all felt all that, I would have respected it if y'all fired me. But then, like, they used everything. They used my sexuality. They used my religion. So boom, my mom's is a pastor. She really don't like my lifestyle. So we don't see eye to eye when it comes to my lifestyle. When I was dating Lisa, she had the same problems. So going through it, I didn't see it. Now that I'm out of it and looking back, when you in something, you can't see it, but when you out of it. But she had all the same problems. Like when I said they played me, like looking back, like they played me to the core. And I'm like mad at myself because it's like, how I didn't know. You know what I mean? What I'm saying? Like, how I didn't know these people was following me. How I didn't know they was in clubs and stuff with me. It was like that serious. Of, the extent that they went. Because they even was saying when I was in trial, like, oh, Officer Stroud was very tight-knit. It was hard. Like, her friends and everybody she around was tight-knit. It was hard. So not for nothing, they used my weakness. They used what I like. So it was just crazy how they could give integrity tests. And I'm not saying jobs shouldn't give integrity tests, but I'm a proud believer of if somebody is doing something, anything done in the dark is going to come to the light. Catch me with my hand in a cookie jar. You was following me for 2 years. So if I was into all that stuff, I would have been caught. But you had to infiltrate me with a chick. And then it was a little deeper too. Because like I said, she had my issues. So her story was, her family is very churchy, but they really don't like her lifestyle. Her mother was dying. It was a lot of different things. So that little time we spent with each other, it was like, to me, it was a bond because we was going through the same thing. Understand what I'm saying? All that shit was fake. But then she tried to make it seem like everything was true. But if you ask me, all that was fake. Me and my lawyer even was saying, we don't even think she really was a lesbian. Because then she was claiming, like on the stand, she came out like the job didn't notice, but I'm really part of the LBGTQ community. But if you ask me, I don't even think that was true. I think that she did her job to the fullest to fulfill whatever she needed to fulfill.
What were the counts you were found guilty of?
I was found guilty of criminal possession of a controlled substance, which is the kilo of cocaine.
That single brick.
Yep.
That same
That
brick.
same brick.
Wow.
That and officially misconduct. So I was facing, and then they kept. Let me tell you guys how sturdy they was. Like they really wanted to like ruin me. Usually, you know, when people get in, mind you, never been in trouble, never got locked. This is my first real like. Besides the incident where I told you they locked up my mother and all us and all that, but never been in trouble, never got locked up, never was, you know, never had a criminal background. Even that situation happened with my mother, they let us all go from the precinct and all that. You know how that go. They just round up everybody and then let you go. So anyway, they kept the A1 felony. So you know, usually when people get in trouble, it'll usually say it'll start as an A, but they'll bring it down like, oh, okay, let's kick it down to the lowest. They kept it as an A1 felony. So as I'm sitting in front of you right now as a A1 felon, and that's equivalent to murder and everything else. And when you have an A1 felony, when you're in a penitentiary, or even when you get out, it's a lot of different things you can't do or you're restricted from because it's an A1. So blue trial, let's bring it up to you. I blew trial. I was sentenced to 8 years and 5 years post. Out of the 8, I did 5 years, 6 months, 2 weeks, and 3 hours. I remember it because when it was time for me to leave, their computers was down and I was pissed off. And they was talking about giving me my money I had on my books. I was like, forget that money on my books. Keep it.
I'm not.
Like, let me go. So that's the time I did. And I actually came home on a merit and did work release. But work release was, I was only in work, when they finally brought me down for work release, I was only in work release for 30 days.
Okay.
And then I was home.
And then you was home.
Like officially home.
What do you know now that you didn't know then?
Yo. That the system is crazy. There's a lot of politics when it comes into law enforcement. And the word is who you know, what you know, and who like you. And also that it's always going to be an uphill battle for us minorities. And not being funny, like, what I know now, I didn't know the police department really was like that. Like, I heard stories before, like, yo, they do this, they set people up. I was very naive. Like, nah, I don't believe that. But now that it happened to me and I'm living it, it's really real. So my thing is, if they doing this to their own kind, imagine how they doing to civilians. And then a lot of times people can't, like, I have a good friend, I'm not gonna say her name, she a sergeant, and I wound up bumping into her after all of this happened. And we was talking and she was like, yo, Naj, I love you. And she just was talking to me like, I'm so sorry. She was like, if I was retired, I wouldn't have mind like helping you. But she can't. You understand what I'm saying? So I respect it because I understand, but it's just like, you know how many people, I'm just saying, that probably want to help me or could have helped me, but they can't because they don't want the backlash and they don't want nothing to happen to them. So retaliation is really real in the NYPD, but they don't talk about that.
It's like our worst nightmares of what we think is going on, you actually experienced
I experienced it. Yes.
And you know it's real.
It's real. It is real.
You're just running. I'm so sorry about what happened. That story is, is very impactful. A couple things run across in my head.
Yes.
Your uncle. What happened to him?
So that night when they raided the spot, he was let go. Whatever allegedly that he had in his butt that they say he had, because we don't know, he was let go. Also, let me tell you this. Thanks you for that question. When he was, I guess when they had him or whatever the case may be, my aunt husband, they was like, if you just say it's the cops, we'll let you go. So even from when that happened, they was telling him to say whatever it was, that it was mine. So it was a lot of stuff that was, they kept calling him, wanting him to come. Like when I finally got in trouble, but he wasn't answering and he didn't want to be bothered with them. So they was even from the beginning trying to throw something on me that ain't have nothing to do with me.
Do you think in the precinct he might have said something to them?
No.
Because that's when it went to the left that night. You do realize that, you know, by them entering into a home that they had under investigation or they felt there were drugs and they had to have something, some type of probable cause to enter into that home. By you being an NYPD officer and they finding you there, you immediately became a threat to them. You do realize that, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like it's a big conspiracy to why they did what they did to you, because you was now a threat to them. We all, none of us are innocent. We all have fell short of the glory of God. I always let you know that in the world. But with that said, we have to have accountability for ourselves. And you said your mom is into the church, you know, so I'm sure she's explained these things to you. So when you was found inside the house, you became a threat to them, and then they started following you. The next major mistake that you have to have accountability for is that an officer is in a very, very trusted, guarded position. So you as an officer know that if she commits a crime and I'm with her, I didn't commit the crime, I didn't have anything to do with it, but I'm aware and I watch her commit the crime, what am I supposed to do? What
Yeah,
am I
no, as you
to do?
supposed to do. If you was supposed to stop it, call 911, do anything.
Yes. So now you have an officer, you have an actual cop. What was the cop supposed to do when they saw a kilo of drugs?
So no, yeah, I was either supposed to arrest her
Yes.
or kick out the car to the lease.
Yeah, I don't even think you were supposed to kick her out, sis. You saw a kilo of drugs. You know what I'm saying? That's an immediate arrest. You know what I'm saying? So once that didn't take place, you know, that has a lot to do with, you know, the situation. And it's ironic that that's the kilo, the same exact kilo that they ended up convicting you for. You know, I just think that we have to definitely keep in our mind our own accountability. We all could be forgiven, and God is here to forgive us all, but we must repent for the wrong that we do, you know. And like I said, none of us are innocent. I'm far from innocent. But that's when I hear the situation that you just explained, that's basically, you know, the situation you was dealing with. When you saw the kilo, you didn't know.
No, you're right. And I could admit, I'm adult enough to admit that I dropped the ball. I was wrong with that. And that's why I said I did drop the ball when it came to that. But also, and I'll take responsibility for that. But it's, to me, I dropped the ball, and I could say that. But it was different. It wasn't just like it was a stranger or something. I'm just saying, I was, in my mind at the time, this was my girlfriend. I was dating her. I was in love with her. I was really like, we had something going. So I'm not saying I was right because I was wrong because I dropped the ball. But when it comes to like love and sensitivity, a lot of times anybody would turn the eye to certain things. So I'm not saying, but it is different. But I could take accountability for not, when she showed me that, I was supposed to arrest her. So that's where I dropped the ball at, and that's where I was wrong at. But everything leading up to that, the way it happened, the way it went down, was totally ludicrous.
Yeah, they could have, you know, they could have been more lenient on you. But now this is where this comes in, that you one of us. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
so but all right, so let's stay there. So
So
no,
that's where that comes
you're
in.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
But let me just tell you this: even with the situation with me being at my own house and me living in that location, we always like Monday night quarterback that. If I was anybody else, they could have listened. I understand it's your family, but there's some shit going on over here. Stay away from them. You live upstairs, go your way. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
I seen things where people get in trouble and get away with it. You understand what I'm saying? Or different types of trouble. It depends on who you are. It depends who know you. You'd be surprised. So I'm just saying, like, my situation really happened because Black, I'm a lesbian. I already pissed people off. So I was the problem. It was a lot of different things that led up to that. But I'm just saying, I could have been in a situation where, like I said, they could have just fired me. But they wanted to make an example. You understand what I'm saying?
The guy who was above you didn't like you. Was he Jewish?
Nah, man,
It seems like you pissed off that community. They all together.
So no,
So
I
the
really
trickle down.
No, you.
Because why would they raise your aunt? They like, now we gotta find somebody in the family. You know, they all come back.
No, I really don't know, but I know he was a white guy. But when I first, when I had the other friends in the department and I was telling them about him, one of my homegirls that was a cop, she was a cop in Queens. And she was like, yeah, we know him. She was like, he used to be a cop in Queens and we used to call him KKK. So I just think he had his own, you understand? When I told her she knew who he was, she was like, oh yeah, he used to work in Queens with us and we used to call him Ku Klux Klan. So, I don't really know.
I just think there was so much grace we see officers extend to other officers, retired officers, active officers, new hirees, because it's a fraternity, like you said. It's a world that us civilians really have no idea. One, you're relying on each other to get home every single night. You're learning from each other. And it doesn't seem like even in the sentencing, there was space for grace. I mean, was 8 the maximum?
No, so let me tell you. So not even though we talking about it like this, I felt like the judge did give me grace because I had the A1 felony. So 8 was the bottom number. And this is what I learned too. So it was 8 was the lowest, and I was facing anywhere up to 35 years. The prosecutors kept saying 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. The judge gave 8, but what I learned in the law library when I was reading up on it, usually, even though you have certain things, a judge could give you their own sentence. But because I kept the A1 felony, when it gets up to there, the power of the judge is lessened. So say if it was like a C or E or D, she could have said, okay, guilty, but I'm gonna give you 5 years probation. But because I stayed up there, she didn't even have any room or discretion. So I could honestly say the discretion was the 8 years was a blessing because that was the bottom number. So she gave me the lowest of the lowest, and with all that, the A felony and the charges and stuff, it automatically came with the 5-year post and all that stuff. So she really didn't have no room. So I felt like 8 was, honestly going through it, 8 was the grace that she could have extended.
It was something interesting that you said earlier too. So you said that when you was in the academy that y'all was given the preference to pick the precinct, even though it wasn't guaranteed.
Yeah, you get a 3 pick.
So I was wondering with that. So the white officers are directly picking the hood?
No. You ain't directly picking the hood, but you said if you from Coney, all right, I want Brooklyn. So remember, every part of Brooklyn ain't the hood. They could give me the 8-4 that's downtown Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? So you could pick okay, give me Brooklyn, Manhattan, and Staten Island. You get 3 picks like that. Where would you want to work? But if you don't get those, at the end of the day, for the most part, a lot of times we go to the hoods because not with the crime rates and stuff. If they're going by the crime rates, certain precincts need more officers than certain officers. So you know how that go. So say like if Midtown South, which is like 42nd Street, if they had an opening, just hypothetically speaking, they probably only had like an opening for 5 people. We had, when I was in academy, it was 2,000 officers. So you know how that go.
Yeah. How come we don't see more black officers that's from the urban city working in the suburbs?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know, man. I
You know,
think
I'm just trying to figure
I'm
it
gonna keep
out
it
because
real.
we have
But
so many suburb cops
yeah.
that's working in urban areas that they have no familiarity with. Well, how come we don't have urban people working there?
If I had to answer that question, I would say like this. A lot of them is from Long Island. So when you NYPD, we only cover the 5 boroughs. So a lot of them that's coming from Long Island, Suffolk County, and all that stuff like that. What I did learn or experience, it's a generational thing. Sometimes a lot of them don't even want to be officers, but their grandfather was an officer, their father's a detective. Yo, you better go get that job. So it's a little, so that's why you get a lot of them that's from like Long Island, Orange County, Westchester, and stuff like that. A lot of times it's something with their family, so they gotta get the jobs. So it's no choice for them to work in the inner city. But coming from the inner city, a lot of times, what I'm gonna say, a lot of us don't want these jobs, and I think that's what the downfall is. Like with me even telling my story, I don't want to discourage none of us from getting a job. I want us to get the job and do the right thing. But coming from the urban communities and we seeing how they talk to us, how they treat us, sometimes people don't, even if I am qualified, I don't want no parts of that. Look how they treat my people. Why would I want to be a part of that? So I think it's more of that. Is a lot of time we are qualified, but we don't want the job.
Yeah,
But you got these people who are qualified, like I'm saying, they got this is our generation, this is what we do. We all was officers, everybody pitches up, they detective, they retired, you better go get that job. So a lot of that, and I feel like coming from our communities, a lot of us are not pushed to get them type of jobs, even if our families are in the jobs. Because even when I told you when I took the test, I didn't want to take the test. My mother was like, take it, take it, take it, take it, take it. But a lot of time we rather do other jobs opposed to being police officers. Like I've lost a lot of friends. Never forget, I was in a supermarket. They got this thing called paid detail where certain places need security, but they hire cops. I was doing that. I was in a supermarket in Brownsville. It was easy. So I always used to get it, not too far from my house. I seen one of the kids I went to junior high school with. He saw me. He like, really? Out of everything in the world at B, you became a cop? That was the last time he spoke to me. So I'm just saying, so, depending on where you from, your morals, how you love your community, how you love your family, a lot of time, even family members, when you take certain jobs, it's like you break that trust or you're a traitor.
why is that? Why do our community feel that when we of the same community get an officer job that we become traitors? Why do you think that is embedded in the minds of the people?
Because coming from the urban communities, for the most part, from what I've seen, the cops is not really helping us. From our perspective, they harassing us, they bothering us, so they the enemy to us. I can't say that growing up in Brownsville, I actually seen a police officers help somebody. You understand? All the interactions I saw was traumatic interactions. They bothering us, they harassing us. So it's always, the bad side we see because the neighborhood we from.
But clearly, would you agree that's a myth, though, right? Would
The
you-
experience
The
or
experience?
the idea?
I felt so.
I'm saying it's a myth that, like, this whole thing that cops don't do any good.
No, I think, no, that is a myth.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
part I
that
think is
part,
the myth.
that's-
I
yes.
think
yes.
the experience of not witnessing it.
Depending on
That-
where you live at.
Yeah.
It depends on where you
Yes.
lived
Yeah.
and what your experiences was. Because if you're not an active criminal, usually your interactions with the PD have been because of where you live.
You just see it.
And
Like,
you might have observed an incident.
You walking in a building and I'm just saying something happened in the building and they gotta stop everybody. They not probably being to you, but some cops could be nasty. I'm coming from school, but because whatever they dealing with, give me your ID, where you live, So it's not all the time, but depending on the neighborhoods, because it's people that live in neighborhoods, certain neighborhoods, and never had certain interactions. Like when I had went to school, went to college, my college, Globe Institute of Technology, the dorms was actually in Staten Island. When I lived on it, since I was in athletics, I wanted to live on the dorms. I lived on the dorms. It was a different world. Like living in Staten Island and being there for college and the campus and like, it was different. We was just like, yo, they put the campus in Staten Island because they knew, not saying things don't happen in Staten Island, but where we was at, if you got in trouble, you had to be looking to go get in trouble. You understand what I'm saying? So certain neighborhoods, I believe that they don't have that experience, but I grew up in the inner city in Brownsville in one of the notorious, baddest, complex in that area. So I seen a lot that probably somebody that grew up in Boerum Hill, Brooklyn, probably didn't see.
I think that if you got bad and good almost in everything, but I think that without law enforcement, we would actually be, it would be chaos. You know what I'm saying? I think that, law enforcement, no matter how bad we look at it, it does keep order.
It is a deterrent.
One of the things that we are experiencing right now in New York is that we have a lot of shootings, and that did not happen in me and your generation when we was growing up. Not that it wasn't murders, because it was when it needed to be, but we didn't experience this, the shootings randomly the way they're going on in New York now. Every time a little kid pulling out a gun and popping off, having these big, broad shootouts. And the reason why is because when we grew up, we had TNT. You know what I'm saying? We had different officers that, that stop and frisk thing was not an issue the way it was. And the officers enforced constantly on the street fear to where if you was a black person and you went outside your door, you knew it was a 50-50 chance. You know what I'm saying? That you was going to be stopped that day and get patted down. That's just how it was when we was growing up. Now the kids is looking more like an 80-20 chance that they get stopped by police and get patted down. And that have up the crime rate and the shooting rate.
Well, I could
We
agree.
also have to look at why TNT was dismantled.
But can we say this too?
We can't.
No, you're right.
No.
But let's just say this too. Like, even with my situation, I don't hate the NYPD, but it's good and bad and everything.
Yes.
So
Yes.
nothing is always gonna be perfect.
Yes.
But I understand what he's saying. So now they doing this thing where let's defund the police and all that stuff. We do need the police.
We do.
Not all the police are bad. Not you know what I'm saying? But I feel like they do need better training. But I could have the best training in the world, but if I'm scared or really not, because we gotta go through a psych and all of that. So not anybody could just be a cop. But if you smart and you educated, anybody could be the psych. You understand what I'm saying? Unless you really out your mind. But if you got the best training in the world and you still in fear, that's where a lot of things could go wrong. I could have the best training, but now if I see you, it's because a lot of people see you're a big black guy. They automatically scared. You're black, you're big, you're tall. So now I'm so scared, just hypothetically speaking, I'm not thinking training. I'm thinking so now in the training, I'm supposed to talk to you a certain way and do something a certain way, but now the fear go up and I do something wrong. But I do believe that if we had the police presence like back in the days, it wouldn't be what's going on now.
The way it is now.
But, we got to give and take. We got to give and take.
Got to find a balance. We
never
definitely
gonna
have to find a balance.
I feel like the police is never going to appease the community to a certain extent because at the end of the day, the bad guys do have to go to prison. You know what I'm saying? So think about it. It's like you said earlier, when we grow up and we know people, sometimes we see the good in them, we see the bad. So I could love you, but you really in the street being a bad guy. You understand what I'm saying? So now when things happen and things got to go down and this bad guy got to go to prison, it's like torn between the two because I know this, I don't know the bad guy. I know this guy I went to school with. I know this guy to help my mother with her groceries. I know this guy that fix our bikes when you understand? So it's always gonna be like a tear between the two because now when things have to be enforced, people don't like that no matter where we at.
Very true. Very, very true.
So it's always gonna be, damn. But we do need the police. I still respect the police and all that stuff. But now I know like what really goes on, and people don't know. So I see like, yeah, it's a good career, but if they feel you ain't rocking with them or they don't want you there, it could go totally left. That's just like if you're in a gang. If they feel, it's a gang. If they feel you set tripping or you doing something wrong, there is consequences and punishments that come with being a police officer.
What's one thing we can do? Because 100 Black men in law enforcement felt like the fraternity within the gang. One of our closest brothers is a member, one of the founding members of that fraternity within the NYPD, where they really wanted to do community policing. There's always this talk about community policing and how we need to get back to community policing. We don't want the community afraid of us, angry with us, just like we shouldn't be afraid of them and angry with them. What can we do with our young people, the ones that got the high school diploma, the ones that survived up until the age of 21 and don't have any convictions under their belt? How do we get them to consider DOC, to consider NYPD? How do we spin the narrative that if we want to change, we have to be at the table?
But I believe that so much. That's my whole thing. Like, how can we change the culture if we're not there? You understand what I'm saying? If we keep diversion and going, then things will change. I feel like we have to show them the good that these departments do have in them, but then we have to interact with these departments on a different note. Like my mother being a correctional officer, so they always had like a family day every year. So I grew up going to these family days, so I get to see these officers in their natural form, not just hey, come in, like because when you think of like the correction officers, they gotta enforce the laws that's in the prisons.
Right.
You see the police officers, they gotta enforce the laws, but it's different back in the days when they had PAL, when I went to the after school program and I don't see the police officer as the man on the corner or the woman on the corner stopping me. I see the police officer as the lady playing basketball with me. So we need to bring that back. They don't have that. I don't even think you could find the PAL.
They have PAL, but they are not as active. They're still there. A lot of cuts in the summer program, a lot of cuts in the after school activities. COVID took a major, COVID impacted a lot of that stuff. And the parents of that age group, the 6, the 7, the 8, the 9, the 10-year-olds, they're not pushing their kids in that direction, because they're thinking, oh, my kid not going to no cop camp,
Yeah, no, you gotta
where
think about it.
your mom's generation, my generation, we'd have been like, let them go play ball. Let them, do the boxing program. Let them do, whatever, because we understood if that one cop knows my kid's face,
It changed a lot.
that may save his or her life
You never know.
one day.
Because then they know, oh, I know little, like anything can happen. You could grow up, oh, nah, that's little Johnny. He's a good kid. Like, you just know that he's been in PAL all the time. But I think we got to change the dynamic because now, like I said, it's more of, people just don't like the police. So we got to change it so they can see that every police officer ain't bad. But we do need law enforcement. You understand what I'm saying? But like you said, back in the days, they used to have the block parties. It's not a lot of positive interactions and that they show or that's out there. So I think we need to bring that back to the communities, especially the inner urban communities. I loved PAL. I'm 37 years old, so I grew up going to PAL and all of that. I say that to my sister and brother, and they don't know nothing about no PAL. So you know what I mean? So they don't see, even though I witnessed a lot of messed up things in my neighborhood when it came to police, but I also seen the good side too. Never in a million years would I thought I would have been a police officer. You know what I mean? But it felt good. You know what I mean? When I did become a police officer and things like that.
It felt good. When you see the young recruits now, what goes through your mind?
I just say, God bless them. No, not being funny. like God bless them. Like, is a friend that her daughter just graduated. And the only thing I basically said to her, I just was like, I was very happy, congratulations. But I said, no matter what you do and how you go through it these years, keep your integrity. Keep your integrity, whether it goes to the big scale that happened to me, or like I told y'all, whether it goes to, no, don't do that, fix this report that way. So I pray for them, but always, no matter what, keep your integrity. Because one thing I can honestly say, when it comes to working in them departments, shit rolls down hills. So if when things hit the fan or people get in trouble, I'm not saying the higher ups and stuff don't usually get in trouble, but it's usually the little men first. So just always keep your integrity and things like that. No matter what, like be true to who you are and don't let nobody change that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Nice.
So, we definitely been waiting to talk to you about this, to get your take on this. In today's news, was something currently that's going on that our channel is going to be covering a lot of, and we want your full take on it. The Sonia Massey shooting.
That breaks my heart.
Yeah, it breaks my heart too. I think the same thing with the Queen. And you explain to us what went wrong there? What was that all about there?
Just watching the video, this is my opinion from, because I seen the whole thing, it's so heartbreaking. I felt like the cop already was like hostile and aggravated from when she was sitting down for whatever she had going on. Not when she was trying to show, not now, man. Don't do this. Okay, go get the pot off the stove. Like the way from how I perceived it, how he was talking to her, he already was like aggravated. I don't think that should have happened to her. I don't care that she said, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. We in a country where we supposed to have freedom of speech. She could say whatever she wants. She never threatened his life. When he said, dump the pot of water, she dumped it. Even before he started shooting, she was like, I'm sorry, and had my hands up, and he shot. So I don't know if he had certain things going on with himself, but even like coming from being a police officer, I don't think he followed protocol at all in there. Even if you didn't feel safe for her to do it, I would have told the lady, stay sitting there. Hey, my partner, hey, Bob, go over there and turn that water off. Like, it could have went different way. Because if you felt like, when she said that, because she said it sitting down, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. Because now the cop is saying he felt like she was going to harm him. So if you felt that way, I would have sent my officer, yo, go turn that pot off and throw that water out. Because now we're in control of the situation. That was just sad. And to me, that was just outright murder.
I feel the same way. I feel the same way, and it's scary for me because I think a lot of our women in our community is Sonia Massey. You know what I'm saying? A lot of women, and a lot of women suffer from distress. A lot of women got a lot of things going on inside. We know how it is inside the inner city community, especially when you at a certain age and you haven't got married or you don't have a man or husband in there to help tell you, hey, calm down, sit down, honey.
I got you, relax.
Exactly. When a woman don't have that, it's already an unbalance that's going on right there. If her son was there or her father was there, that wouldn't have happened to her, So I think that's a very, very unfortunate situation. Now, rebuke you in the name of Jesus. I don't think he knew what that meant.
I don't think he was religious, not for nothing, because I grew up in the church.
Yeah.
I love the Lord. I used to be a choir director and all that.
Nice.
Yeah.
But only thing I could say on a spiritual note, maybe the devil really was operating in him.
Oh, he was.
You know
He
what I'm?
was.
No, seriously,
He
because
was.
it's just like I rebuke you in the name of Jesus.
Did you see the anger that he got that
He
went
got
over
said,
him?
I'll
when
shoot
she
you. He said it. I'll
Yes.
shoot you dead in your face.
He said, yeah,
like,
you better not shoot you in your face. It was something about her saying rebuke you in the name of Jesus.
That
triggered
brought
him.
These demons is outside.
anger over
Yeah.
him.
You a cop, you see a lot of things happen. Do you think like demons come over people and they do bad things? Because I feel like sometimes I see murders happen. I'm like, and then you see them in court later and they like feel so guilty and sorry. And I'm like, did something come over this person? Like, I don't think people inherently want to do it sometimes. And something comes over them where they murder somebody or do something crazy.
Well, I could agree and disagree. Like having a spiritual relationship and like knowing the Lord and stuff like that, spirits are really real. People think it's not. Demons is real.
Yes.
Angels is real. I believe some people do get demon possessed and stuff like that. But then you just have some people that's just bad people. You understand? Like they was just made wrong. I like to say that. But no, it's real. Like demons and stuff are real. And like people don't understand that. Like it's real. It's really real. Like my church, they was praying. I was in church years ago, and they was praying, for this lady, and then she had like her son on her lap, and it's like you seen something like just coming in the lady, then going in her son, then coming. It was just like I never seen nothing like that. But I seen something on a spiritual note that just blew my mind. So I know that's real. So a lot of times demons, and a lot of times we're so naive to the spiritual realm. If we didn't grow up in it or we're not connected, we open up certain things. We play certain games. We watch certain stuff. We listen to certain music, and we're not even knowing we're channeling demons in our life. And sometimes it don't got to be to that crazy effect to where we kill somebody, but we could channel demons in all different aspects of our life.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
Yes.
So I think the devil was in him for sure, because she didn't do nothing wrong. She just said, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. And if you're very spiritual, you know they say the demons tremble when they hear the name Jesus.
Yeah.
So that must have been
He took it as a threat. Why?
He
Yeah. Why did you
absolutely
take
took it
the
as a
name of
threat.
Jesus as a threat?
threat.
He absolutely did.
Another thing I think that there's a big controversy about, I would like for you to explain, so people get maybe a better understanding, because there's a lot of people that don't understand certain things. What does qualified immunity for police officers mean?
Qualified immunity. So I don't think we actually use that in the NYPD, but immunity mean when it, all right, how can I want to explain it the best I can. So let's put it like this. As being a police officer, it's going to be collateral damage. Not like purposely. So say if something is going on and we have an active shooter and we have to run in and shoot down an active shooter. I want to get the active shooter. That's what I want. But God forbid you may be there and you may get hit. You understand what I'm saying? So you get immunity with certain things because certain things we just can't control if something happened. Like years ago, something happened on Jamaica Avenue where they was shooting at a perp, but then a lady got shot in her back by the cops. It was just an accident, wrong play. You know, she happened to be by the perp or something. So when they say that, meaning things that we can't control, if it go left, you can't go to jail and get tried for. But if you outright killing somebody, murdering somebody, using your gun to rob people and do things like that, you will be brought to justice. But when they say that, it's just meaning things we can't control. Say like, well, now I know in the city we can't really do car chases, but back in the days when they did allow car chases to happen, that's like if I'm chasing you, you a bad guy in your car, and then you swerve off and hit another car and people die. That's collateral. Like we didn't mean for that to happen. We was trying to get you, so that's what that means. But now, with a lot of stuff that's going around the world with the police officers, they just dragging that and taking that to a whole nother level. The way he shot that lady, she was no threat. She didn't throw no water. She was far from him and everything. Even the feet she was, if she did attempt to throw the water, I'm just saying, he could have simply moved out the way.
Someone couldn't have hurt him, yeah.
So, but a lot of people don't understand that. So basically, just any department, things is gonna happen that we can't control. So if I'm doing CPR to you, I'm just saying hypothetically speaking, the right way to do CPR is that you break a rib. So a lot of people don't know that. So if you going into cardiac arrest or something is happening to you and I'm doing CPR on you and I break your rib and now you want to sue me and I got to go to, it's just things that just keep things, oh no, that can't happen. I didn't mean to break your rib when I was saving your life. So you can't try to sue me or press charges and say I abused you. So it stopped little things like that. But something like with Miss Massey, no.
That's not correct.
That ain't.
Thank you.
You're going, well, I'm saying you should be going down.
A lot, and so many people are under the impression, oh, that See, Trump trying to get him off these. No,
No,
that's not
no,
what
Trump can't
qualified.
control that anyway.
Yeah, that's not what qualified immunity means.
But people only hear the immunity piece.
Exactly,
That's
and
what
that's
they
why
hear.
I wanted it explained by.
And you know how everyone's an expert when they watch. You know, when we watch social media.
Yes.
You know, you get a few sound bites, you know, because no one's reading.
That's true.
Right? We read the newspaper. You know, we processed the words that we were hearing. We defined the words we were hearing. You know, we looked at the adjective, the adverbs,
so
you know. Right. That's not happening now. We're getting information in milliseconds.
Yeah, and fake news too. One thing I can say about Trump, we don't gotta like him, but the fake news is real, for real.
And people believe
real,
it. All they heard was immunity, and there was so
And they going
much
up in a rage.
panic.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, everything's a panic. You know, it's like everyone has their own personal panic button. You know, look what's gonna happen. It's all over. You know, and it's like, okay, let's pick up a dictionary. Let's look up qualified. Let's look up immunity, and let's see how, in what context
does it works together.
Right, because
Yes.
I think that is a big piece, and we really appreciate you clarifying that because there's so much panic. We have 90 days to the election,
Yes.
give or take.
Who we
right?
voting for?
I'm not party loyal. Never have been party loyal. And I do believe in exercising my right to say, I never even know damn body. And I'm waiting for
I like that.
2028 is right around the corner. If we get 4 more years of Trump, what's the worst that could happen? You know what I mean? If we get, 4 more years of Biden by ways of Kamala,
That's a
with
disaster.
Megan twerking in the background.
Yeah, yo, what did you think
Really?
about that? That was not
It
professional.
was very
for that,
embarrassing. It
for
was
that
very
platform.
embarrassing. It was very
Out of
embarrassing.
everybody she could have called, I'm just saying.
Why
all
did
the
Megan
black-
have to twerk? Why she couldn't just came
Thank
up
you.
there and say, rock the vote
you
and
know
walk
she-
away?
'cause
She couldn't. It was like she couldn't help herself.
No, but
She had to
listen.
just start twerking, and I want that to stop.
Nothing against Megan, but why they ain't call like a Lauren Hill? I'm just
Yes.
saying it was other. I'm just
There
saying
was so
other
many
people
other
that
options.
you could
There
have
were.
called that would have shown like.
was a lot
Nothing
of
against Megan because I love Megan, but that type of
Megan
situation
too.
was not for that. You at
Democratic convention.
twerking.
And I think she brought a team with her.
Yeah,
I think
team.
it was a
They was
few
dressed- you
of
see how
them
they was dressed
there.
up? They was
had on
twerk.
the
Yeah,
Democratic
yes.
blue with the
Yes.
crop tops, and I just was like, she's not gonna twerk. She gonna say something like "rock the
Nope.
vote," and she grabbed that mic. I said, "Oh shit."
And she
Twerk
twerked.
bad.
And
You
she
know, and I
twerked.
just didn't want to look. I didn't want to look. You know,
No, that was crazy.
it was a little embarrassing.
Very
and
embarrassing.
I don't want to hear any more stories about hot sauce on collard greens. I want to hear about policy. I want to hear about what is your 4-year plan globally. What is your plan when it comes to Putin? Because Trump's already said all these things. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be great.
That's his favorite line. Beautiful, beautiful.
Yes, it's going to be great.
No plans and nothing.
Wait, it's just going to be beautiful. It's going to be great, and it's
Everything
going to
is
happen
beautiful.
quickly.
Yeah, that's what he
I'm
said.
gonna win. That's it.
And quickly. Everything is
What
quickly.
are we doing now?
Quickly. That's his thing. Quickly, beautiful, and it's going to be great. And I just want to hear that. And I'm looking forward to a debate because maybe the debate will,
Give us
encourage
something.
me to say, okay, maybe I will actually vote this time. But we all have the American right to not, and don't be so party specific. I think more policy specific is very important. And I think local elections are very important because local elections usually is what we see in our everyday life. Those are the policies and the procedures that we see in the supermarket, in the school. We see it in how many community events get held, where the money starts to go when that budget comes down from the federales. So it's very important. So everybody just pay attention, keep your eyes open, read. And if you don't understand a word,
Go to the dictionary.
go to the dictionary. Don't just say, oh, I know what one word means. There are
Yeah, you can't
compound
think like that.
phrases.
Yeah.
Compound phrases is a part of the English language. That's why they say English is one of the hardest languages to learn because we have compound phrases and synonyms and antonyms. So don't be afraid to, know what the hell you're talking about. I think this was amazing. I
Thank y'all for
think the
having
light
me.
around you is beaming. What are you doing now and where because you are a fitness
Personal trainer,
fitness
yes.
personal trainer.
Absolutely.
Where can the
Keto
people
bong.
find you? What are you promoting? How can they connect with you to
Okay,
get their lifestyles healthy?
All right, so if you go on Instagram, I'm at Reborn Body Fitness. I work at Blink on West Fordham and Jerome. I'm actually the top female trainer there, so come see me. Far as right now, I came back to doing security. I was doing security. I went to trade school. I just got my certificate for carpentry, so I'm an apprentice. So no matter what, I just want everybody to know, no matter what happens to you, you can always come back to better. Like I was sad, I was messed up with losing the NYPD, but hey, God has something different for me. And no matter what you go through, just keep striving. So right now, I have my own LLC, which is Reborn Body Fitness. So I work in the gym, but the goal is to actually have my own gym one day, probably like 10 years from now when I get it rolling. But right now, I just want to get back and rolling into life. Since this happened to me, I only been home for a year and 6 months. So also my accomplishment, when I first came home, I got home on a Monday. Tuesday, I already had my permit at the DMV. 2 weeks later, I had my driver's license. I went to school to get certified. When I was away, I was training the women and stuff up there. But I went and got certified through a second U. They're good. They help people that been incarcerated get back to life. Then I also wound up doing security with Elite Security. If y'all need a security job, holla at Miss Penda. But no, and also in the process of when I was with Elite Security, I went to school to be a carpenter. So I went through the Sisters in the Brotherhood program. So right now I'm a 4-year apprentice with Local 279. So I didn't let my past or what happened to me stop me. I'm just gonna let it help me build and go to bigger and better things.
Absolutely.
God is good and the light is on, and we support you. We thank you.
Definitely do.
Your spirit is so light, and the lessons that you share with us today, I think, are definitely going to change lives. Before we let you go, being that you are a fitness connoisseur, what are your thoughts on the Ozempic craze, on people who are not medically approved for it, but using it for cosmetic reasons? What are your thoughts on that and the long-term impact on the bodies?
The weight loss shot.
Yes.
Okay. I'm happy she brought that up. So no, honestly, I know we all want to feel good, look good, have confidence, and have that body, but I need y'all to please stop doing the things you're not supposed to do. That shot is for medical use only. For people who are diabetics, for people who are obese and trying to lose the weight and need the extra help. But just to be doing it because you want to look good, get in the gym. Get in the gym. Like, it's nothing to get back to yourself. It ain't even about working out. Eat right. Drink right. One step at a time. But to take something medically that's supposed to be with somebody that's obese or somebody that have diabetes, that's not cool because it's a lot of effects that could come your way. A lot of people don't even know with taking that shot, if you're not getting your right protein and vitamins, it makes your bones brittle and you breaking your bones. So there's a lot of things with that. But in the world we in today, everybody wanted the fast way.
Instant
I could be in the
gratification.
gym and it could take me a solid year, not even a year. If you could be consistent for 6 months, you'll see results. But if you really want to go extreme, give yourself a year and a half. Consistently, you'll see results. But we want the BBLs. We want everything fast. I want to go to the doctor, get cut up and sewed up within 3 hours and have the body opposed to the work. We don't got the discipline no more. Everybody want the fast stuff.
Instant gratification.
Yeah.
Stay in the light, guys. Thank you so much for everything that you do, and everything you are going to do is being seen, and it counts. And I
Thank
want
you.
you to know that.
Thank you for having me. And the only thing I want to say is nothing but from the grace of God that I'm here. In general, a lot of people that go to prison or have been to prison, they don't make it. It was a culture shock. It changed my life. I'm still here. I'm in my right mind. Thank God I didn't try to hang myself. And I want to just say this before we leave. It's a lot of people who work for law enforcement overall. And when y'all get in trouble, y'all panic and want to kill yourself. Or y'all kill yourself. It's nothing worth taking your life, especially the NYPD officers that get in trouble and take care and take their life. It's more things than the NYPD. And a lot of people don't see that. When we have certain procedure jobs, or because like when I became a cop, it's like, oh, she NYPD, you held to a higher standard. How can you lose that job? Don't get me wrong. It's a great job. It's great to have. But if you ever get in trouble, it's life after the NYPD. It's never that bad. But thank God for having me. Thank God that I'm here. And I'm just happy to be here to tell my story and just make my life better, make better decisions.
And you are making it better, brighter, lighter. And we see you.
And before we cut out, we would like to give you, one of our bottles here. Speaking about healthy stuff, this is our alternative drink than alcohol. We have all different flavors that y'all are welcome to buy online, as you already know. We have tequila, we have rum, we have whiskey, and we have gin. The sugar's good, it's very
read it,
small amount of
No
sugar.
calories. No, I read it. It's
So
healthy,
yeah,
guys.
exactly.
Yes.
So we would like to present you with one of these. Which one would you prefer? I think we have whiskey. I think we have the whiskey here, and we have the gin here.
I'll go with the whiskey.
Okay.
Keep it nice and dark.
There you go.
Thank you. All right,
Definitely,
guys.
we appreciate you, and we hope you enjoy that. Everybody out there, you already know how to find it. We appreciate all the support that y'all have given us, and everyone that comes online and buys Sun and Shield. Also, stay tuned. We have the beer and wine coming out very soon, probably about 30 days. And the wine is, I'm telling you, so stay tuned for that as well. We appreciate you all. We love you all.
And that's a wrap.